And good morning to you, St. Lucia. Thank you so much for coming on to the National Television Network for the studios. We are live here, as always. It's Lisa and Herma for the morning update. It is Thursday. It is October 28th. Ma Heritage, Creole. And I know many people are looking forward to Sunday, the 31st of October, and that is for the celebration of International Creole Day. We do that celebration, but of course it's our Journée Creole. Today is actually International Creole Day, and so there is some action happening down there in the south of the island. We'll be telling you a little bit more about that, and it's a competition how to engage people for South by the View for South Constituency Council. We have a little bit more information a little later on. Bonjour. You seem to you going to the Indian side of our heritage, Shoma?
Good morning to you, Lisa. I think that's as close as I get to it. So yeah, I'm practicing that today. Yes, of course, we have to say good morning to those of you joining us via social media, Facebook, YouTube. You know, you could always join the conversation. You could do so via the chat, the chat on Facebook, Government of St. Lucia page. Those of you viewing on channel 122, good morning to you. You always we need to give you the information that you need to keep you informed as to what's taking place in our country. And we can, of course, get started with the COVID-19 update. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs yesterday confirmed a total of 21 new cases of COVID-19, and the cases were processed on Tuesday, October 26th. That is at the Ezra Long Laboratory from a total of 162 samples. They were collected between October 25th and 26, 2021. The number of positive cases makes up 13% of all samples processed on that date. These new cases bring the total number of cases diagnosed in country to 12,486. Ministry of Health also reports 2 new COVID-19 deaths and 1 new COVID-19 related deaths. All these deaths occurred during the period of September 2nd, 2021 to October 7th, 2021. To date, the total number of COVID-19 deaths in country is 192, and the total number of COVID-19 related deaths is 61. The Ministry of Health, of course, by extension, the government of St. Lucia extends condolences to the bereaved families, friends, and loved ones of these individuals who have passed. It's always sad to hear of the passing of individuals, especially due to COVID-19. Confirmation was also received of a recovery of 38 individuals diagnosed with COVID-19, bringing the number of active cases in the country to 350. Currently, 1 individual is in critical care and 5 others ill at the respiratory hospital. You know, if you are looking to get vaccinated today, let me just remind you of the vaccination sites today, Thursday. VG Sports Complex is one of the places that you can go to get vaccinated. The Larry Shoes Constituency Council as well. You could check there, as well as the VA4 RC Parish Hall, the Jackman Center, the Grove Human Resource Center, the Zufre Hospital, St. Anthony Medical Center in Sunny Acres, the Castries InnoCare, that is on Clark Street, VA4. Sorry, that is Sunny Acres, Castries, and InnoCare on Clark Street, VA4. Vaccination scheduled at all sites between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. to definitely go and get vaccinated.
Yes, and thank you for that. Don't forget that the government of St. Lucia is making those vaccines available to you free of cost. And we also now will be seeing the rollout of the booster shots. And remember that the first target group is for the frontliners, and then we have the vulnerable persons for that as well. And so the Ministry of Health will be giving more information on the booster shot program very soon. Now let's look at what's happening in our sort of lead vibrant sector of tourism. Air Antilles is increasing winter service to St. Lucia. The French airline Air Antilles is on schedule to increase that service to St. Lucia commencing December 6, 2021. St. Lucia will benefit from a capacity of approximately 3,000 seats per month on the George F.L. Charles Airport. With the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, the SLTA, placing strategic emphasis on airlift from the French market. This increase in service is a direct result of market trends and frequent consultations with the airline. And so the airline will operate daily flights from Barbados and from the Pret and Fort on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. From Antigua, the airline will operate on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays via Barbados. From Dominica, with return service Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, with a direct service on Sundays. Now, extending service from the St. Martin, St. Lucia will flights from St. Martin on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and on Sundays via Barbados and Antigua. From Curacao on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and on Sundays via Barbados, Antigua, and St. Martin. So, Caribcation St. Lucia is driving a robust campaign that invites the audience to bask in St. Lucia's undeniable beauty, variety of accommodations and adventures. And Caribbean visitors and returning nationals must check with the airline for schedules and obtain a PCR test in 5 days before travel to St. Lucia. To ensure a seamless airport experience, regardless of their vaccination status, all travelers must complete the pre-arrival registration form before departure. And you can find that form website www.stlucia.org. That's STLUCIA.org. And the page also features information on the island and a checklist of the overview of the mandatory requirements. You know that tourism is now happening in the context of COVID-19. And so you want to be able to, yes, plan what you want to get done so that you can enjoy your vacation, but you also need to plan ahead so that you can meet all of the requirements that will be needed for travel. This is not just a sort of hiccup for St. Lucia, but it is travel the world over. Some destinations will make it more stringent than others. I think this is quite accommodating. Get the PCR test, and I'm speaking to those of you in the diaspora wanting to come home. You know, Christmas will come. Everybody wants to come home and spend some time with family. So make sure you fully understand what is required as you are returning home, and to our Caribbean neighbors as well. Thank you so much for choosing St. Lucia. We shall look forward to welcoming you. And speaking of that, the Minister for Tourism, while he was in Dubai, because we know we had this expo in Dubai, the Minister for Tourism, Investment, Information, Culture, Creative Industries, he had an interview conducted by Breaking News Travel over in Dubai. We want to go to that interview in its full length so that you can hear for yourself the plans and the minister's vision is for the local tourism industry in the context of global tourism and travel.
Honorable Ernest Hillar, Minister for Tourism, Investment, Culture, Creative Industries and Information, and I'm from St. Lucia.
Good morning, Minister, and a pleasure to see you here today. You've recently stepped into the role after a successful election there in the Caribbean. What are your aspirations as Minister of Tourism?
I think our vision, first and foremost, is to ensure that we have a tourism industry that is sustainable, that can withstand the various shocks, whether natural disasters, whether it is economic challenges, but we have a tourism industry that is robust, that can recover quickly from whenever there are any shocks. But also important for us is to ensure that the industry offers many more opportunities to as many people as possible. We do not think that the tourism industry should be seen as restricted to a few, both in terms of participation participation, ownership, and enjoying the benefits of it. We want to introduce a tourism industry that offers authentic experiences to our visitors, and for that to be successful, it has to come from the people itself. So you will find over the next few years in St. Lucia a program which seeks to introduce as much as possible authentic experiences of St. Lucia.
It's no secret the last 18 months have been very challenging for the tourism industry around the world. Where is St. Lucia and the Caribbean more generally with the reopening of the tourism sector?
Well, firstly, St. Lucia has been doing very well with the recovery. Since we reopened in June, we've seen very, very encouraging numbers. August was our best month for arrivals from the United States. We've seen increased numbers from the United Kingdom, and only a few days ago, Air Canada resumed flights to St. Lucia. Canada is our fourth largest market, and we expect robust arrivals from Canada. So we are seeing quite a lot happening. The cruise ships are starting to come back, and we're going to see increasing ships. And our numbers for the winter season is quite exciting. We are certainly looking forward to a winter season that almost not parallel in 2019, but surely will be up there. At the Caribbean level, we're also seeing a very robust revival. We are seeing in some of the islands very high numbers that they had experienced before COVID, but surely not as high as before COVID, but surely returning to those levels.
How about the products on the ground there? You've been working with your private sector partners to invest while the market might have been a little bit subdued. So you're going to come back stronger than ever?
Well, that's the plan, and we are very aggressive now in ensuring that some of the projects get off the ground. And I mentioned earlier our village tourism program, which we are really seeking to introduce as quickly as possible. We want in the post-COVID for St. Lucia to be a better destination with a better product. And surely we see a lot of investments coming over the next few months in more hotel plans. We see in more product development, and we plan to ensure that when COVID finally allows people to open up as much as possible, that St. Lucia will be so well placed to offer a better product.
A key segment of your promotion campaign here in Dubai for Expo 2020, a lot of money and investment has gone into your offering there at the Pavilion. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the Pavilion is really, a miniature St. Lucia in many respects. When you enter the Pavilion, you actually feel St. Lucia. I mean, the setting, the decor, the look and feel tells you that you are in St. Lucia. You will see manifestations and various, presentations that will tell you about the essential personality of St. Lucia, the sites that you will see, the products that are available. Even the individuals we have in the Pavilion are persons from St. Lucia. We actually ensured that we had individuals who knew about St. Lucia, knew about what we were offering, whether in CIP, in investment, in tourism, in the products that we produce in St. Lucia. And surely, if you do go to the Pavilion, and I invite everyone in the UAE and neighboring countries to visit the Pavilion, and you will see the best of St. Lucia.
Just finally, let me offer you my congratulations. Recognized as the Caribbean's leading honeymoon destination by the World Travel Awards. How does it feel to have won there?
Well, I think it's always exciting for us to win. We've been winning for the last few years, and I think St. Lucia is just reaffirming its position at the pinnacle of that niche market, that we have so much to offer in St. Lucia when it comes to weddings and honeymoons, and we believe this is an affirmation of the quality of the product that we offer.
Congratulations, and I appreciate your time today, Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And that's our very own Minister for Tourism, Culture, Creative Industries and Information, Honorable Ernest Hillar, speaking there with breaking news travel over in Dubai. The expo there in Dubai came to an end. St. Lucia featuring prominently there. The contingent remains there. A number of businesses there showcase products and services, of course, being spearheaded there by the Export St. Lucia. And so the minister speaking there very, very passionately about being able to create an environment within the tourism sector where all St. Lucians will be able to benefit from the gains of tourism, the tourism sector, and speaking there very passionately about the village tourism concept, being able to have as many of the ordinary folk as possible, no matter what your investment level is, to benefit from some of the incentives that the government can offer, so that everyone can be able to partake in that economic activity. And while we're on that, Homa, we have some developments out of the Ministry of Education. So Update us
Yes,
now.
we do. From the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Education informing us that the Permanent Secretary in the Department of Education, Innovation, and Vocational Training, Ms. Michelle Charles, she recently held led to this year's Community College Administrators Program, that is the CCAP. The CAP is a program for officials with higher education planning abilities and administrators from post-secondary vocational technical institutions. It is a U.S. Department of State exchange initiative which consists of an executive dialogue and a community college seminar. The two objectives of this program are, one, to encourage ongoing collaboration between participating countries and U.S. counterparts involved in community college administration, and secondly, to articulate the unique and important opportunities created through merging academic, business, and management skills through the community college system. The other participants on St. Lucia's delegation included the principal of the South Willis Community College, Keith Nurse, and his team, which included the quality assurance officer, Mr. Raiders, Mr. Brunton, who is the head of the Innovation Hub and Gateways program at the South Willis Community. Ms. Sharon Prasad was also a part of the delegation, and she's the principal of the post-secondary program. Miss Lydia Shalmine was also a part of the delegation, and she's student affairs coordinator at the V4 Comprehensive Secondary School. The delegation also included Ms. Delphia Natram, an officer with the TVET unit, who joined the team virtually. Joining St. Lucia on the exchange were also delegates from Grenada, Suriname, and the exchange was conducted by the Florida State University and Santa Fe College. So that's an opportunity to kind of gain linkages when it comes to community college and speak about ways for development, because you know the South Willis Community College currently is playing a great role in post-secondary education. I mean, it's one of the options for persons living secondary. So there are a few people who may just skip the step and go to university, but majority of students leaving secondary school, South Willis Community College is their way to go. And we've seen the South Willis Community College over the past year really innovate in terms of their offerings and their programs to ensure that the students are getting best educational experience. So it's great to see that they're further exploring that and creating linkages for the community college.
Absolutely, being able to, again, that linkage creation, because, you know, we don't exist in a vacuum, so you get to learn best practices from others who are in that same field with you. The South Willis Community College is certainly a great foundation for a student, so that if they were to build on their academic life, it is definitely a very good foundation. As we move along very quickly, we saw the announcement by the Minister of Responsibility for Housing and Local Government, Honorable Richard Frederick, yesterday, and I see that the government has decided to waiver to that reprieve to tenants of the CDC buildings, of the units there, commercial and residential, unburden them with debts owed, you know, rents, back rents, and so forth. And certainly COVID-19 has impacted the finances of all of St. Lucia, and so the government of St. Lucia stepping in to grant that reprieve to those tenants. We now have the remarks by the Minister, Honorable Richard Frederick, in its entirety from that press conference where he made that announcement yesterday.
This government, in an effort at further exhibiting its election mantra of putting people first, announces yet another act of utmost goodwill. An act that will put approximately $4.2 million in the pockets of St. Lucians, relieving them of outstanding debt. This, of course, is in addition to the multiplicity of deeds by this government, including but not limited to the 5,000 households soon to receive cable TV and Wi-Fi, the $500 bursary to first formers, the reintroduction of the laptop program, and the payment of facility fees for all secondary students. The government, through the National Housing Corporation, has considered to nullify all outstanding debt of all tenants who are currently in occupation of these units, whether residential or commercial, up to the end of September 2021. As a current government, we recognize that the COVID pandemic did not impact on some, but impacted on all. And in that regard, this reprieve is granted irrespective of one's political affiliations. Tenants of commercial areas have been unable to vend. Many occupants lost their jobs during the COVID period. They could have hardly fend for themselves, far less to pay their rent. And in that regard, government felt the compunction to come to their rescue. There are only two conditions attached to this gratuitous deed. One, all tenants must pay their rent for the months of October and November. Pay your rent October, November. Once that is done, the good news is all tenants again would get relief for December. So as long as you pay your rent for October and November, no tenant is expected to pay rent in December. Christmas has come early at the hands of this current government. The other condition is that tenants would have to sign a lease agreement come January. In January, the government will start afresh and all tenants will be required to sign new leases. I must say that given this reprieve or this waiver, delinquency or non-payment, as we call it colloquially, will no longer be tolerated. Neither will we tolerate subletting. These areas, the residential units and the commercial units, the leases will be placed in the names of the occupants. We have to put a stop once and for all to subletting. Sometimes the person who appears to be the tenant, his or her name is nowhere on the lease. We want to put an end to that kind of practice. Yes, to tighten up the lease agreements, the NHC will ensure that the occupants are in fact the leases of the properties of the units. We are now conducting an assessment in relation to the market and also in relation to the vendors' arcade. An announcement in that regard very soon. As a current government, we have helped the tenants by relieving them of a total of approximately $4.2 million. The obligation is now on the tenants to help themselves by being responsible tenants. I do hope that this kind of relationship will augur well for the NHC and its tenants. I hope that that reprieve cannot apply to any judgment currently existing. Thank you.
Okay, the Minister there for Housing and Local Government, Honorable Richard Frederick, as he made the announcement of the waiver of rent payments that owed to the National Housing Corporation by the CDC tenants. So Certainly, that is a very welcomed initiative by all, I would think, all of the tenants, because certainly you have to pay the minister indicated October and November's rent, but December there's no rent, and then you afresh with a new lease agreement come January. So that certainly is good news, and as the minister said, Christmas will come. Early.
Very early.
Early.
Early. And speaking of Christmas coming early, Lisa, I did see that concessions for the Christmas season on barrels were announced, and I did have the information there. So let me just go through that very quickly who may have missed it. So the Cabinet of Ministers have approved the granting of concessions of barrels on imported barrels between November 1st, 2021 and to January 2022. The concessions are granted in accordance with the following terms. So 100% waiver of import duty on personal items. So that includes food, clothing, toys, and other household consumables. Electronic items are explicitly excluded. So you can't say you didn't know. Okay. Number two, the number of barrels that would qualify for concessions would be limited to 2 per household. There would be an upper limit of EC and $50 per barrel on the value of items qualifying for the concessions and the items identified in one, for example, so the food, the clothing, the toys, and other household consumables must personal use only and not for commercial use. The usual penalties and fines would be applied if the goods are used for commercial purposes. Those imported during the period under consideration will be exempted from value-added tax, that's VAT, pending the passage of the appropriate negative resolution by Parliament. So that is concerns for the Christmas season on the importation of barrels.
So is that, you said the value, is that 200, 2,500?
Thank you. I said 250, it's 2,500. Thank you for that,
Okay.
Lisa. Thank you for that, Lisa. It's 2,500.
We don't live in that era anymore. that era.
I can imagine those were the days. Right?
Those were the days. That's long gone. But, all right. So, picking up from there, remember today is International Creole Day.
Yes.
So, umoka dia bagay Creole.
When someone take a video exam,
Bonoti bagay la.
Kisa ube we dia
Masa, man, dia bagay Creole.
One Creole to tune.
Ah, c'est ça. OK. All right, c'est ça, on m'a dit bonne fête, mais vieux fort. Sud vieux fort, sud vieux fort. L'année de compétition qui a commencé là, et puis Cyril Stoltenberg. I think he won't spearheading that. I've switched to English. Let me try. my Creole is going right now. I was about to say mayor. How do you say the mayor? Mayor in Creole. I have no idea, but he's the recently installed mayor there in V4 South, and he is in this virtual talent showdown. So let's go to that video, Roger, where it explains all of the rules of participation.
South Constituency Council presents Creole Singing and Dancing Virtual Talent Showdown as we bring our Creole month to an end on 31st October 2021. Enjoy from the confines of your home our Creole singing talent using an instrumental version of a local Creole rhythm. Record your vocals and submit to us on our platform. Number 2, Creole COVID Dance Off. In the confines of your home, dress up and record yourself or you and your partner dancing away to a local Creole sound. Submit your recordings on our Facebook page using hashtag VFCreole21 before 12 noon Sunday, 31st October 2021. The recordings will be judged and the results released via our Facebook platform at 6 p.m. Recordings must exceed 3 minutes and have no obscenities. Lots of prizes to be won as the Vieux-Fort South Constituency Council presents Journée Creole, singing and dancing virtual talent showdown. Don't miss it.
That sounds so engaging. I want to have that virtual talent showdown for the Creole singing and dancing. I'm just wondering if it's open to all of St. Lucia, or is it just for Vieux-Fort South and environment? Don't know, but submit. I think that's a great way to engage. And, you know, we don't have that luxury this year of being able to go out and enjoy Journée Creole on Sunday. So something that you can do at home and even before. So you submit, and certainly you kind of log that you can enjoy that whole virtual display there of the talent, our Creole talents.
You know, just listening to that, it sounds like so much fun, but it also seems like the Vieux-Fort South Council is trying to gain a couple of points there. I don't know, Lisa, the Minister for Housing and Local Government recently announced that there will be friendly competition amongst the councils. So I suspect that, you know, they're
ahead of the curve,
they might gain a few points for that.
Yeah, ahead of the curve.
It really does sound like something that I want to be engaged in if I were in the Vieux-Fort South constituency. So yeah, a couple of points for that if it were me. So it looks like they're ahead there.
Yes, and as I say, even if you're not, perhaps submit anyway, because you know, what would we have done?
Exactly.
People from all over would probably converge someplace in Vieux-Fort South. So let's all converge on that Facebook page, right? So that would be fun. Also want to tell you that we should wait for the official announcement. There will be an official announcement regarding the protocols this weekend.
Yes. And
so that will be coming soon enough, if not later today. That's going to come for Friday.
Yes, and look out for that.
So we want to, look out for that, because remember, whatever planning that you are doing right now for Journée Creole, which we would have traditionally celebrated out and about, ensure that you'll be following the protocols when you are doing so. And we know that we have objected to confinement because we want to continue to see a decrease in the number of COVID-19 cases, and not just the cases, the transmissibility rate. We need that to go down, further down. We need to see a further decline in the hospitalization and severe illness of individuals due to COVID-19. We do not want to have any more deaths where COVID-19 is concerned. And to me, we've way past what that our own tolerance should be about people dying from COVID-19. So let us all show that concern, exhibit that concern by following what those protocols are. And if confinement within the home area, let's do that. In your yard, you can do something with just you and your family, people in your household. You don't need to go and call Jack, John, everyone else down the street. No, you don't need to do that.
Great.
I think COVID-19 is trying to force family units to remain tight. So, let's continue to just strengthen what the family bonds are. And if you are going to plan something there in your backyard, just make sure it's just you and your household. Okay, I think,
great
right?
point, Lisa. And of course, there also.
But you don't get a pass, because when Monday comes, I expect you to share with me some delights you'd have made for the Sunday. Because I can't come to your home, but you coming to work Monday.
So what you're saying is that now
we expect to see a display, Homer. So at least we could lay out and say, this is what Homer created for Journée Creole. No one is going to look to me because they all know I'm hopeless in the kitchen.
What you're telling me, Lisa, is now I'm obligated to ensure that if I was going to keep the food for Journée Creole, I cannot do that.
No, Homer, you see.
And I need to make enough that I can come.
Yes. So now I put you on the spot.
I was just about to say, Lisa, that, in the workplaces, you can also celebrate in that there's the Plebel Kai Kumwell competition where you can decorate for Journée Creole. And that is you can do it within the workplace, but no, you're insisting. You have to make sure.
Well, yes, I don't know how our tummy is going to benefit from decoration in the office. Most people are concerned about their tummies when it comes to Jeanette Creole and celebrations like that. So Homer is very skillful. I think I've said quite often that Homer is very artistic. She's a designer, you know, just makeup. I mean, Homer just does it all. Jewelry, bags and stuff. So Homer is very handy, and she's going to, you know, create some treats for the office. And then we will be able to display what that is on come Monday. So I'm looking forward to seeing you.
We'll see.
All right, it's gonna go well. That's gonna do it for our time here. Except to say that tomorrow, Homer, we are speaking about a very serious subject, and St. Lucia, of course, like the rest of the Caribbean, climate change, and so participating in the International Climate Change Conference, and it is COP 26. So we'll be having a representative on with us so that we can discuss what are the ins and outs of COP 26 at this time. You know, it's Paris and the 1.5 to stay alive, you know, campaign that the region had been very, very heavily backing. So we want to see what gains has been made, what are we facing at this time, and so forth. It's going to be a very, very interesting conversation, and so we hope that you will join us tomorrow morning for that at 9 a.m.
Yes, and with that, we're of course wishing you a very, very productive Thursday. Again, it is the 28th of October, 2021. Moi héritage Creole, of course, October, c'est moi toute sauce. So whatever you do today, we do hope that you have a great one, you have a productive one, and be sure to join us tomorrow, Lisa and Homer, the morning update right here on television. That's next time.
Bye-bye.